dating mundo, di magkaangkas papunta sa'yo.
Hawak-hawak ka sa telepono, nag-iisip, nagtatanong hanggang kailan to.
Kailan muli magpapakita ang paggalaw?
Mga istoryang sa papel ay sumisigaw.
At kung ito man ngayon ang baraha ko, at ang lumaban.
Bigyan natin ng mainit na pagtanggap ang mga direktor ng VLF Festival na sina Tess Hamyas at Marco Viana.
Mabuhay, ako po si Tess Hamyas.
Ako po si Marco Viana at kami po ang inyong festival directors and welcome to VLF 17 Hinga.
Ang Playwrights Fair po ay tinaguyod noong 2019 at patuloy ito sa kanyang hybrid form ngayong taon.
Mapapanood nyo ang 4 na sessions ng live dito sa Tanghalang Manuel Conde CCP Dream Theater sa June 17, 18, 24, 25 ng 5 p.m.
Itong mga live sessions po ay papastream po sa mga Facebook pages naman ng CCP, VLF, Tanghalang Filipino at saka Writer's Block. So magiging 10 sessions po ito na magsistream mula June 29 hanggang July 3.
Maraming salamat po sa patuloy na pagsuporta sa mga artista ng bayan.
Mabuhay po ang teatrong Pilipino, mabuhay po ang kulturang Pilipino, mabuhay po tayong lahat.
Pagbati at maligayang pagdating sa VLF Playwrights Fair. Ang Playwrights Fair ay isa sa mga component ng Virgin Labfest at ito ay nasa ika-4 na taong pagtatampok ng mga talk, lecture at interview tungkol sa buhay, akda at proseso ng pagsusulat ng mga mandudula. Ang VLF Playwrights Fair ay hatid sa inyo ng Tanghalang Pilipino, Writer's Block at Cultural Center of the Philippines sa pamamagitan ng Intertextual Division. Ang Playwrights Fair Director ay walang iba kundi si Mr. Roddy Vera. Salamat sa inyong pagtutok sa Playwrights Fair session ngayon na pinamagatang Writing Musicals. Inaanyayahan ng lahat na magbahagi ng inyong saloobin sa ating comment section. Ang ating tagapagsalita ngayong gabi ay si Ejay Yatco. Si Ejay Yatco ay isang kompositor, musical director at pianist. Ilan sa kanyang original musicals ay ang Daluyong ng Diwa, Guadalupe the Musical, Ding ang Bato, Friction, Real Life Fairy Tales, Toilet at 1,000 Taon. Siya ang nag-arrange ng musika ng Fringe Creatives Sugar-Free Musical na Sa Wakas. Siya rin ang naging musical director ng mga palabas ng Tanghalang Pilipino na Mabining Mandirigma, ng Dalanghita Production na Kung Paano Ka Naging Leading Lady ng Repertory Philippines na Myong, Hair, A Little Princess, Stepping Out at iba pa. Nanalo siya ng 2017 Gawad Buhay para sa Outstanding Musical Direction at isang gold medal at 3 silver medals para sa WCOPA o World Championships of Performing Arts. Kasalukuyan siyang nagtuturo ng musical theater sa Ateneo de Manila University. Narito na sa ating virtual floor si Ejay Yatco.
Hello, my name is Ejay Yatco. I am a composer and lyricist. So I'm here today to talk about writing for musical theater. As a composer, ang number one priority natin ay storytelling. Basically, para kang painter. Meron ka iba-ibang kulay na ginagamit, tapos gumagawa ka ng overall picture. But instead of paints, you're using musical instruments. You're using chords, harmonies. It's the goal of every composer to create an atmosphere, a certain vibe for a show, a certain sound. And we're going to talk about later how we do these things and the process of how we create a painting. Now, as composers, may 2 types of work kang may encounter. One is personal work and another is commissioned work. Magkaiba para sa akin yung process ng commissioned and personal work. My first musical was back in 2014. It was a musical called Toilet the Musical. Toilet, di ba, weird. In-expect ng tao, humorous siya, full of jokes, toilet humor. But it's actually the complete opposite. Kasi ang naisip ko nung time na yon, yung toilet is both a personal space and a public space. It's a place where you don't have to wear a mask, where you don't have to pretend to be somebody you're not, where you don't have to hide. So the musical is basically about secrets, about the things we're afraid to talk about, things people are afraid to talk about. Ngayon, personal work to. So ang priority ko nito, ano ba yung message na gusto kong mag-come across? Pag personal work, there's less limits, there's less rules. And from personal experience, mas mabilis ako nakakagawa ng personal kasi there's less limitations on the work. So for example, Toilet the Musical was created in 11 days. Friction the Musical was created in 3 days, as opposed to commissioned works such as Guadalupe the Musical, which took a year to make. I based the stories in the musical from my own experiences and the experiences of my friends. So basically, nauna yung songs. May song na about bulimia. May song about, pardon the topic, it was suicide. There was a suicide song. There's a religious questioning song. And then I got book writers to weave these songs together to make a musical. And that's how the first musical was made. It's kind of like a song cycle with dialogues in between. So it was a good starting point. Kasi nung time na ginagawa ko siya, hindi ko pa iniisip yung structure, hindi ko pa iniisip yung script o yung book. Inisip ko lang ano yung laman ng song na to at ano yung sinusubukan niya sabihin.
Who's the biggest idiot of them all? Why does she have to have everything? I'm smart, I can be cute and sweet, and I can laugh at all his jokes. It's just a stupid body. Why can't I be born a princess? Pretty, thin, graceful, perfect. I recall watching a Betamax of Snow White at an early age. Skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, hair of an ebony shade. Even when faced with a poison fruit and a magic spell, she lived. As I watch her ride with her handsome prince, I ask, what would I give to be skinny as a Disney princess, fit in an extra small dress? Skinny as a Disney princess, a size 0 damsel in distress. Cinderella's thin, Sleeping Beauty's thin, Belle was thin, so was Jasmine. Ariel was thin, Ursula's obese. If you had to choose who would win, I choose skinny little Disney
Now, that's very different from an experience na commission work. For example, yung Guadalupe the Musical, it was staged in 1600s Aztec music. So number one, hindi ako masyadong religious na person. Number two, hindi ako Mexican. Wala akong alam sa history nila. So pagdating sa musicals na ganito, ang pinaka-importante, research. Research sa era, sa genre, ano ba yung instruments na ginagamit nila nung panahon na yon. Like doon ko na-learn na meron palang Aztec death whistle na bungo na hinihipan ng tao to make a very scary screaming sound. Tapos in-incorporate ko siya.
Motejoteja, Huitzilo Pochni.
Huitzilo Pochni, eya, eya, eya.
Motejoteja, Tlalok.
Tlalok, eya, eya, eya.
Motejoteja, Xipetotek.
Xipetotek, eya, eya, eya. Motejoteja, Huitzilo Pochni. Motejoteja, Tlalok. Motejoteja, Xipetotek, eya, 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 eya.
Motejoteja, Huitzilo Pochni.
Huitzilo Pochni, eya, eya, eya.
Motejoteja, Tlalok. Motejoteja, Xipetotek.
Yung other musical ko na recent was called Daluyong ng Diwa. It was staged for the Dubai World Expo. And this was a Filipino musical. But when they handed me the material, wala siyang script actually. Kasi sung through siya. So basically, all I got was there has to be a choral segment. There has to be polyp segment. There has to be bird segment. Tapos ako na bahala kung paano magtatahi nun. So una kong ginawa, nanood ako ng National Geographic about polyps and corals. Kasi I'm not a scientific person, so I don't know where to start. And as a composer, ang pinaka-importante is you find something that you can relate to in the material para may connection ka to it, para it's personal. And polyps, it's such a scientific term, like how do you make that into music, into art? So watching the documentary, I learned that polyps have these algae. They form the corals. Tapos sila pala yung nagkukos ng bright colors. So doon pala nakuha na ako ng something interesting. What if the polyps are the painters of the ocean? Tapos naalala ko yung parang Hiraya Manowari episode na yung mga iba-ibang angels na kulay, tapos kinukulayan nila yung world. So naisip ko, magandang attack yun for polyps kasi it's something we can relate to. And corals naman are an ecosystem. So it's something, a sense of community is something human. It's something I can relate to as well. birds. When I saw birds, ang una ko naisip, flight, aspiration, ambition. Something that we can relate to also. So sometimes you have to humanize certain things, personalize things, so that you can write about it. Sabi nga nila, you have to be able to write about what you know. Mahirap i-fake.
Ikaw ay binubuhat ng hangin hanggang sa kayang abutin. Ating liwarin, ating liwarin. Liwan, liwan, saan man ako mabarpad. Liwan, liwan, ang iyong kinabukas ay nasa iyong palad. Liwan, tayo'y magsahing papawid sa dulo ng langit.
So, yun ang advice ko, maghanap ka ng common point, ng common denominator. Kung may character sa story, anong similarity mo sa character na yun? Paano mo maiintindihan yung perspective niya, yung gusto niya, yung goals niya? So, yun yung commission work. Pero, in commission work, there's also a lot of limitations. Isipin mo rin, for example, yung market at yung audience. Kasi syempre, may producer na papasok, tapos bibigyan niya to, stage siya, let's say, sa Resorts World, ganun, malaking audience. So obviously, isipin mo, may production numbers tong ganitong classic musical. Or kung isa-stage siya sa black box ng CCP, kailangan mas intimate yung material. May mga factors na ganun. May factors na other people on board, the director, the vision of the director, the scriptwriter, all of this come into play, which is why commission work takes longer. Now, how do you actually start the process of writing a musical? A common question that people ask me is, alin ba nauuna? Music or lyrics? Laging tinatanong sa akin yan. And I don't know how it is for other composers, pero I think yung process ko is not very conventional. Kasi how I describe it is like a jigsaw puzzle. Minsan, may makukuha akong chorus. Minsan, may makukuha akong refrain at different points of the week. At different times, in the bathroom, in the taxi. May nasulat na ako sa taxi na nire-record ko sa phone ko, tapos tinitignan ako ng taxi driver, tinatawanan ako, parang baliw daw ako. Pero sometimes I hear it in my head kasi so basically kino-combine ko yung different pieces. And usually, when I'm on the piano, sabay ko nagagawa yung tune with the words if I'm the lyric writer of this musical. So I'm sure it's different for other composers. But when writing a song, siguro ang una kong isipin, what do I want the song to say? What does the character want? Kasi ang song sa musical, merong point A at point B. Kaya may song na yun is because something has to happen within that song. May point A yung character. Pagkanta niya ng song, something happens. Point B, iba na yung character in some way. So yun yung mga iba niyong iisipin. Now, paano mo malalaman kung anong scene lalagyan ng song? Every song kasi in a musical is a dialogue. It's a dialogue to yourself, it's a dialogue to another character, a dialogue to the audience, to the universe. Usually, pag sobrang heightened na yung emotion, or kung may conflict, doon ginagawang song. Kasi sometimes the words of the character is not enough na mapapakanta siya. Basically, yun yung concept ng musical. Pag sobrang intense na ng emotion, kailangan mo nakantahin siya. And to spark that change, spark that action through a song.
It'll be just us two, you and me and you. Nothing's real, nothing's ever as it seems. The two of us, alone in the world, will make believe reveries and daydreams unfurl. Two of us, endlessly falling in each other's arms, endlessly loving. Come with me.
Now, maraming challenges sa paggawa ng musical. Totoo ang writer's block. It's very real. Minsan talaga may days na gawa ka ng gawa tapos walang nangyayari, hindi masyadong maganda. Ang advice ko dyan, don't judge the song as you're making it. Usually, ginagawa ko, ino-on ko lang yung record button. Gagawa lang ako ng gagawa no matter what. Para raw siya, para wala nung judgment. The next day, papakinggan ko, maganda ba yung nagawa ko? May mga songs kasi na the day before nung ginawa ko, akala ko ang ganda-ganda. Tapos pag playback ko, medyo parang cliche, parang kulang. So sometimes, I suggest do it with freedom. Do it without limitation. Do what you feel in the moment. And then, after that, take a step back and look at it from a third-person point of view. Look at it with an objective perspective. So, that's how to counter, the best way to counter writer's block, honestly, is to just do it. Just keep on writing, keep on doing, until you come up with something that you can be proud of, that you think is right. Meron ring danger, and I talked with this with fellow composers before, of recycling a bag of tricks. What does that mean? Minsan kasi every composer, meron siyang bag of tricks na hinuhugutan, certain chord progressions na across his works or a style na known for. So challenge siya kasi as a composer, you want it to be fresh every time. pero you have your own habits, you have your own signatures. So it's a balance of keeping your sound and signature, but not really recycling completely. Meron rin danger, nangyayari to. For example, yung roar ni Katy Perry at Brave ni Sarah Bareilles. It's kind of the same chord progression. May danger rin na subconsciously you might be copying an existing song. And that's so understandable. Kasi there's so much music in the world, like the combinations of chords, it can't be avoided na sometimes may similar na katunog. I mean, billions of people write songs every day. So those are dangers that you will, maintindihan mo siya when you take a step back. Gawin mo muna ngayon, huwag mo muna problemahin yun. After some time, pakinggan mo ulit and you will know what to do. From experience, that's how I fight writer's block. Isa pang challenge, minsan yung lyrics provided is difficult to put in melody if you're working with other lyricists. Ang tip ko dyan, basahin mo yung lyrics as dialogue, pakinggan mo kung paano sinasabi yung word. For example, magpaliwanag. Hindi mo sinasabing magpaliwanag, hindi rin ganun yung pagbigkas niya. Kasi if you listen to how it's spoken, matatranslate mo siya organically dun sa language ng instrument on how it's actually said in dialogue form. So that will give you a sort of sketch or blueprint on where to start. Ako personally, sometimes, pag nagsusulat ako ng songs, meron rin akong peg. It also helps to have a peg of the character. Like, kung nagsusulat ka ng song ng isang character, si Bernadette Peters ba, is that the type of voice that you want? Or is it an Idina Menzel? Ganun ba yung boses na belter ba siya? Classical ba siya? Mixer ba siya? Falsetto ba siya? These things kasi will define rin kung ano yung musical structure ng song niya, kung ano yung gagawin ng character sa musical. Kasi kung wala ka nito, parang hindi akuma yung song ng character sa Act 2 and Act 1. Kailangan it's the same character singing the song. So there's definitely a certain type of voice that you use. So sometimes meron na akong actor in mind, not necessarily na sila yung gagawa nun when comes show day. Pero it helps, in the creating process para unified yung songs ng specific character na yun. Now, how do you know if a story is effective as a musical? Technically, anything really can be a musical. I mean, this is coming from a guy who wrote a musical about toilets, diba? It really depends on execution. Now, for example, binigyan ka ng script, ng book, na straight play, tas effective na siya sa dialogue, baka hindi na kailangan siya gawing musical. Because music accesses certain emotions that dialogue can't. You know how like, kung wari may sad song sa Japan, pag pinakinggan mo yung song dito, kahit hindi mo naiintindihan yung sinasabi niya, nararamdaman mo na sad song siya. Music is universal across countries kasi it evokes a feeling without the use of words. Now, if the dialogue isn't enough to convey the emotion needed, then that's when that material is supposed to be a musical. That's how you know. Now, merong mga kilalang conventions sa musical. Yung, alam mo yung cliche na opening number bigla na sobrang dami, parang Belle sa Beauty and the Beast, Little Town. Bonjour, bonjour, maraming ensemble, big ensemble number. Merong cliche na I Want Song, parang yung Wizard and I sa Wicked. This is what my character wants. I'm gonna reach this goal. This is my dream. Yan. You don't have to do these conventions. Not necessarily. But they're conventions for a reason. It's like yung parang concept ng tried and tested. Nagawa na to ng mga musicals na successful. Alam na natin na maganda yung response ng audience dito. So, balance siya ng storytelling and entertainment actually. Is it necessary for the story? Kung hindi, I don't think you should do it. Despite how entertaining that number can be. Kasi ang pinaka number one objective natin as composers is storytelling. Another convention for musicals is that kailangan i-balance yung songs. Kailangan merong fast song, may ballad, may duet, may group number. Again, these are conventions from previous productions that have had successes. Pero I personally don't follow these conventions. Kasi lalo na yung earlier works ko, people would say na masyadong malungkot or masyadong dark at malungkot lahat. But then, these stories that I'm telling, they are dark. They are sad. So the story called for it. That's why ganun yung tunog niya.
pictured this 100 times, 1,000 poems rehearsed in my mind. I've made a choice, the die is cast, the time is now, it's come at last. Maybe I'll go to him and say that I just really love the way his eyes meet mine. Maybe today will be the day. It's time. I searched the hallways for your face, and knowingly I count the days until I see you again. This may be a surprise for you, but what I have to say is true. I love you. Always have and always will. Until the end, I love you still. I do. What can I do? I've said it now, I've done my bit. I only wish you were there to hear it.
Come with me to a place where we'll be safe. It'll be just us two, you and me and you. If I close my eyes, it's like I'm asleep in a dream, soaring through endless skies where nothing's real, nothing's ever as it seems. The two of us, alone in a world where make-believe reveries and daydreams unfurl. Two of us, endlessly falling in each other's arms, endlessly loving.
So, I guess the balance. Siyempre, you want to make something pleasing to listen to, something beautiful, something the audience will respond to. Of course, we're entertainers. Pero, kailangan pasok siya sa goal ng musical at pasok siya dun sa story. Now, talking about different genres, as a musical will call for a genre talaga. Dito yung sinasabi kong papasok yung research. I myself have made musicals na, yung first musical ko na jukebox, rock musical siya sa wakas. Gumawa ako ng ancient Aztec and Mexican musical, EDM musical, Filipino ethnic musical, pop, classical. So, pag mga ganitong bagay, research, ang maganda ngayon sa internet, readily available halos lahat. So, kailangan talaga, usually ang ginagawa ko, 1 month, pinapakinggan ko muna yung genre para makuha ko yung vibe, tapos para inherent siya sa akin, bago ko magsulat. Generally, when I start writing a musical, I know what tone I'm gonna go for. Kasi kailangan unified picture siya at the end. Diba kanina yung metaphor ko ng painting, you're painting with colors. Kung yung color scheme mo ay cool colors, ba't ka maglalagay ng isang red? Magsi-stick out siya kasi hindi siya deliberate. So kailangan unified yung music in terms of genre. And this is achieved through research. Diba? Ano ba naman yung alam ko sa 1600s ancient Aztec music? Pero, which I will discuss later, important rin to incorporate your own sound. Now, you should remember this when I say, remember your sound. But at the same time, incorporating the features of that genre. What Mexican music, mariachi, ganon. EDM musical, very technological yung tunog. Very synth-heavy, ganon. Classical, so puro violin, strings, orchestraic. So kailangan alam niyo yung kung anong instrument ang appropriate na gagamitin sa musika. Now, the good thing about music is it can provide subtext that the lyrics don't. For example, yung lyrics sobrang saya. Anong mangyayari pag sinet ko yan ng sobrang lungkot, yung music? So, isa extra layer siya. May madadala kang layer dun sa character na hindi pa binubuking nung lyrics na nag-exist. So, combination siya nung sinasabi nung lyrics, pero yung nararamdaman ng tao. Ano ba yung nararamdaman niya pag sinasabi to? Marireflect yan ng music. So, nakakapagdala siya na subtext. Language rin is important. For example, yung Toilet the Musical again is about teenagers. So, the language I used was very slang, very young, very uso nung time na yun, nung 2014. Siyempre, laos na siya ngayon. Pero, yung isa ko namang musical, Daluyong ng Diwa, which is about Filipino mythology, old Tagalog words naman yung ginagamit ko. So, importante rin yung type of language ng characters mo inside the song. Yung songs ba, poetic ba yung attack ng song? Sobrang metaphorical pa siya. O yung songs ba, mas straight to the point kind of dialogue set in tune? It's really up to you. It depends on what the material needs.
Unang batuhang matatag sa sahig ng mundo ay ating ilatag. Batuhang silungan sa lamig at panganib sa bagong yugto. Ikaw ang kaanib, bayang hindi madaling mag-iba. Anumang hadlang na harapin, bayan sa puso ng bawat isa, bayang mamahalin. Sisiring ang kailaliman, sama-sama kapit-kamay sa katubigan. Ika'y bahagi ng pangkalahatan, kasama kaanin kasama kaibigan. Unang sinura sa law sa kailan, sa kalamisan.
Now, I'm going to talk about yung sinabi ko kanina, yung finding your sound. Ano ba yung finding your sound? Kung papakinggan niyo yung mga Broadway composers, si Rodgers and Hammerstein, Stephen Schwartz, Sondheim, Jason Robert Brown, or local composers such as Vince De Jesus, Ryan Kebiab, pag pinakinggan mo ang isang song nila, alam mo na sila yung nagsulat nun. Paano nila nagagawa yun, di ba, na, ay, Sondheim song yan, ganon. Kasi meron silang signature na na-create regardless of the genre of music na ginagawa nila. This is achieved through certain chord progressions that you do. Yung type of scoring and arrangement. Musical ornaments. Kung mahilig ka ba subito piano bigla. Subito piano is suddenly soft. Bigla magda-drop yung music. Ganon. Sa isang part ng song. Si Alan Menken mahilig doon. It's something you develop over time. It's not something na one day, oh, I think this is my sound. Not really. It's something, if you keep on creating musical after musical, may marirealize ka na patterns na ginagawa mo na that can be your signature actually. But this signature is very important. It's your voice as a composer. Even like, let's say painters, they have their signatures. So may ganun din sa music, irregardless of genre. Kasi today, in the world today, we have technology now. We have these things called music loops. If you use software such as GarageBand or Logic, meron ng pre-made loops yun eh. Na as owners of this software, you are allowed to incorporate them in your music. So it's as easy as dragging a drum loop, dragging a piano loop, dragging a violin loop. Boom, may song ka na. Pero that's actually what you want to avoid because I don't think composing is just putting together a bunch of loops to create an effect. Diba? You have to have a voice. You have to have a sound. You have to have a certain style. Even no classical period, si Mozart may style siya na talagang definitively Mozart. Si Beethoven, binago niya yung face ng classical music industry. Siya yung nag-bring about ng Romanticism period. Kasi meron siyang signature style. Yun yung pinaka-importante kailangan mo mahanap as a composer. So hindi pwedeng drag lang drag ng pre-made loops. Kasi maaring maluloko mo yung layman with that temporarily. But in the longer picture, pag nakita na nila yung body of work mo, marirealize nila, wala ka talagang boses. Now, sometimes you can write your own lyrics. Sometimes you write lyrics with others. Both of these processes, meron siyang advantages and disadvantages. So let's start with lyric writing with others. Sometimes, kung hindi musically inclined yung lyric writer mo, baka mahirapan ka. Kasi lyric writing, it's not just about, rhymes, poetry. Kailangan medyo may understanding ka rin sa rhythm tsaka sa melodic structure ng song. So, ang challenge dyan, kailangan mo ma-communicate dun sa fellow lyric writer mo yung kailangan mo sa music. Yung music ko, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Kailangan ko ng ganon na word. So, collaboration is key. Mahirap pag nagko-collaborate ka with somebody na lyric writing, tapos pride gets in the way. Pride is actually useless in composing. So, throw that away because you both have to work together. You have to adjust to each other to create the best possible combination of lyrics and music. Ngayon, when you're writing lyrics naman by yourself, may advantage siya because nako-control mo how the words will hit the melody. And as a musician, you should know na bagay itong salita na to sa tonong to. It's something na may parang gut instincts kayo na mararamdaman pag ginagawa mo siya. Importante rin kasi yung pag-transition ng dialogue into song. And this is something you can achieve very easily if you're the one writing your own lyrics.
Today I needed you most and it's like you knew. Thank you for being here.
For you.
Thank you. Sa pagkumpas ng iyong kamay, ang aking landas ginagabay, nag-iisang tiyak sa 1,000 duda, silong sa iyak at pagluluksa.
Ang disadvantage when you're writing your own lyrics, kung iba yung book writer, tas merong certain way of speaking yung character, kailangan maingat ka na i-match yung way of speaking ng character na yun. Kasi you're both two different people writing for the same character. So, kailangan isang character yun pag nood ng audience. Whether that character is singing or speaking, it has to be the same character. Eh, syempre, magkaiba kayong tao, iba yung language nyo, iba yung words na ginagamit nyo. So, that's a disadvantage. That's a disadvantage if you're writing your own lyrics, tas iba pa yung nagsusulat ng book. So, I personally do both. I like working with others to experience, but I also like writing my own. Pag personal work, I really write my own. Kasi, personal work ko siya eh. Yun yung message ko eh. Now, composing actually, I don't think you can really learn composing solely in a classroom or in an academic setting lang. The academic setting, the classroom, will provide you the skills, the tools you need to compose. But it's something that you learn on your own by trying. It's something that you learn by experimenting. As composers, we want to try different things. We want to push the boundary. Sabi ko nga, si Beethoven, nung nabingi siya, pinush niya yung boundary ng classical music. So, naiba yung buong landscape. So, dapat mag-try ka ng different, mag-experiment ka. Ako, gumamit ako dati ng gripo. Yung tulo ng tubig ng gripo as percussion sa musical. Gumamit na rin ako ng telephone ring as percussion also. Ganun. Yung mga bagay na parang, hindi ko pa narinig ito gawin. Ano kaya mangyayari pag itry natin na ganito? Kasi kung iniisip mo lang, hindi yan ginagawa. Or, hindi yan yung tamang structure na tinuro sa akin sa school. And then, you're not adding to the overall industry landscape of music. You have to push boundaries. That's the only way music changes. And you have to go with the times. What does that mean? Alam niyo yung pag sinasabi ng mga older generation na mas maganda yung music ng 60s, mas maganda yung music ng 80s. Ganon. Yung songs ngayon wala nang kwenta. Ganon. May mga ganon kasing mentality. And I personally don't believe that because every generation kind of thinks that their music is the best. Kasi meron silang personal attachment sa mga music na ito. Pero, sa totoo lang, every generation has both amazing, beautiful songs and bad songs. So really, what's happening is, nag-iiba lang yung landscape at yung style. Now, if you're stuck in a certain era, that's good, pero you also want to know what's going on right now. You also want to learn. Kasi it's so important to be open to learning all the time as a composer. The moment you think you don't need to learn anything, that's the moment you stop growing. That's the moment na naging cliche na yung music mo. Na paulit-ulit na lang, ito na lang yung ginagawa ko. So ang advice ko, you have to keep writing and experimenting as composers. Maraming skills na kailangan sa field na ito. Skills such as playing an instrument, transcribing and writing scores, orchestration and arrangement, vocal harmonies, knowledge of modern-day software such as Logic, Reason, Sibelius, Finale. But to be honest, you don't need to know all of them. Sometimes sa musical, iba yung arranger ng band, sa arranger ng vocals, sa musical director, sa composer, sa lyricist. Kasi may iba-ibang ino-offer ang tao na magaling ako mag-arrange, magaling ako magsulat. Ganun. May iba-ibang skill set kasi na nadadala ang tao. The thing with composing is you don't have to be the best instrumentalist to be a composer. You don't have to be the best in the piano field. Hindi ka naman kailangan virtuoso. Kasi ang dami-daming napakagandang worldwide hit songs ng hindi naman virtuoso musician. Alam mo yun na nag-concerto at nag-classical. It's about a perspective, about a sound that a person has developed. Kung hindi ka masyadong knowledgeable sa instrument, pwede kang gumawa ng tono and chords at pwede mo siya ipa-rearrange sa arranger. So you have those options. Pero of course, may advantage ka kung naaral mo tong lahat ng skills na to. Kung aral ka sa music scoring, napakalaking advantage niyan, syempre. Kasi alam mo na kung anong gusto mong ipagawa sa orchestra. Masusulat mo na siya pag gagawin sa show. Ito na po yung pyesa, sinulat ko na po. Nakatranscribe na po sa Sibelius. So, advantage siya, pero hindi siya necessity. Kasi with the right frame of mind and the right objective, anyone really can be a composer. I mean, if you're willing to try to make a song, you can be a composer. And who's to say if your work is good or bad, di ba? I mean, kaya composing, honestly, art, anyone can make art, honestly, if you want to. You don't have to be the best in music theory to do it. Ang pinaka-important na quality ng composer is meron kang point of view at alam mo kung paano i-translate yung point of view na yun sa music art form. Personally, as a composer, ang gusto ko, nire-reflect yung current situation ng world, ng society, through the music that I make. Kasi, sinabi sa akin ni Evidencial when I worked with him early, music is like taking a photograph. It's something captured in time. Yung state ko ngayon as a person, nape-preserve ko siya through the notes, through the harmonies, through the melodies. Pag pinakinggan ko yung song kong sinulat noong 2014, pinakinggan ko siya ngayon, naaalala ko agad, kaya ko to sinulat kasi nangyayari to. Kaya ko to sinulat, di ba? Kasi heartbroken ako nito. Yung song ko sinulat last year, noong 2020, noong December 2020, noong pandemic, may sinulat akong song noong Christmas, The Loneliest Christmas. Pag pinapakinggan ko siya ngayon, nababalik ako agad dun sa isolation, dun sa feeling na mag-isa ako sa kondo at hindi ako makalabas. Yun yung power of music is para siyang picture, para siyang photograph.
Ask anyone who knows me, I am ordinary, a perfect nobody. How do I begin? I can't seem to shake this feeling. I gotta break through a glass ceiling. There was a time I felt the world wasn't mine, the stars were aligned. Now life is on repeat, I'm dragging my feet to a tidal beat. And though my wings were clipped, I gotta make that shift, take flight past the clouds to a new horizon. Claim your light up high, out of your self-made prison.
Yun yung gusto mo maramdaman ng tao pag pinanood nila yung musical mo. Gusto mo, kung ano yung hindi sinasabi ng character outright, nararamdaman. Nararamdaman yun ng audience pag pinakinggan nila. Even without words. Kahit at lala lang yung kinakanta niya, mararamdaman nila yun if you know how to translate it in the music form. Alright. So, that's it. I hope that the time we spent now was useful for you. If you guys want to check out the soundtrack of Daluyong ng Diwa, it's already out in Spotify. You can search Daluyong ng Diwa or Ejay Yatco. Hindi ko po pwede sabihin kung anong musical production, pero abangan po, meron po akong show sa September at October sa CCP, at meron po akong show sa April, hindi ko pwede sabihin ko ng theater. Pero abangan na lang in details. Thank you so much for inviting me to give this talk.
Maraming salamat muli kay Ejay Yatco sa pagbabahagi para sa Writing Musicals.